All right, welcome to Rainy Rockport, Blacksburg. We're at Blacksburg now. Um, Hi, Clover. What's going on this morning? Everybody awake? Ready to go? It may not be too many of us. There's a fun kid thing going on in another session, so may just be a few of us. 1 a.m. I don't ever see 1 a.m. unless I've slept for a few hours and woke up at 1 a.m. Uh, yeah, we've got a 7 hour drive, probably a little bit more in the rain, but totally worth it. So we'll keep chatting. We'll wait a little bit till we start talking about rescue stuff. I just want to give you a couple of ideas if you're going to rescue, things to look for, things to prepare for, and things not to do. Oh, my segment started. Yay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Michelle. Well, we got a whopping 8 people here, so I'm happy. I was afraid it was going to be just me and my husband behind the sitting over there behaving, doing all my grunt work for me, carrying, lugging, setting up. He used to produce and direct TV, so he's like, "Okay, check the lighting. Move your thing over. You don't want to be. No, no, no. Check this." So I feel I'm in good hands here. Hi, Allison. So, how many of you have done any rescuing? Okay. Yeah. It's a good thing to prepare for because you never know when it's going to happen. All of a sudden, you find yourself with someone saying, "Hey, a friend of mine needs to get rid of a crab," or "I have a crab. My kids are sick of it. They're bored with it. I don't want it to be my job. Will you take my crab?" And really, no, generally isn't the answer. You'll almost always have to take them. Okay, Amanda, good, good. There's a couple things to think about. Hi, everybody. 12 people. Wow. I'm excited right now. Couple things to think about. Number one, do you have room in your home? Hey, look who's here. Miss Jessica, my partner in Krabby Crime.
Hello, everyone.
There she is. Get in here. We've actually both done a whole bunch of rescuing. I prefer to pass mine on to other people. Jessica likes to keep hers. She falls in love.
Yes, I
She's
do.
a lovey-dovey. Um, but yeah, you want to make sure, first of all, you have room. If you don't have room, and you're putting your other crabs at risk, please think twice about it. Get another tank, get something set up, even if it's a PPDS tank, which we're going to talk about anyway. Just a small little 10, 15, 20 gallon, just enough to get your new crabs through PPDS. You don't want to put the other members of your current colony at risk. It's just not worth it. Okay, so is there room for that tank? Where you gonna put it? Is it going in the kitchen? Is this one going in the bathroom? It's like I've run out of room. There was a point where I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks, 4 of which were PPDS because it's feast or famine with rescuing crabs. We found that out. Make sure you have the room. Make sure you have the supplies. If you're only going to rescue one crab, do you want to go out and buy a whole new heat mat? Do you want to have to go out and buy a whole new tank? All the other things that go along with it, your pools, your bubblers, if you're going to do that or whatever. These are things to think about ahead of time. How does the spouse feel about it, or your significant other, or your roommate, your dog, whatever? You gotta take that into consideration. You don't want to be making the spouse angry. Right, Dave? Correcto. My kids might end up having to share. Oh, yeah. Put the kids together in one room, and then you have a whole crabby room. Look, I'm so glad you're here.
Here to help.
And then again, are you going to take crabs in? Are you going to keep them? Because you're going to have to set up a whole new great big tank. So you've been doing this now for a while. You know what you're doing. It's my first time in the machine. It's something you really need to start thinking about up front. Any questions in there? No questions?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So you've decided, okay, you have the room, spouse is good with it, you're all set to go. So let's say somebody has a crab and they've taken really good care of it. I, for one, still do at least a modified PPDS just to be sure. I've personally seen them eat and hydrate and act normally. I mean, for what a crab would be. Once I know they've done all those things, then I'll go ahead and check them out in the tank. But you don't want to just add them to your colony right away. Yeah. How many tanks do you have right now?
I have 5.
You have 5 tanks. The biggest is
7. I have 2 75 gallons.
Gosh. You have a 55.
I have a 55.
I know you have a 55.
A 20 gallon that I'm actually not counting. Counting that is actually 6. That's where the baby lilas will be. It's a full setup. Just because I want to see them for a little bit before I actually put them in the big 55 gallon.
Because then you won't see them.
Then I won't see them.
They'll disappear.
Yes. I just want to observe them and see what they do, because this is all new to everyone, and it's good to document everything.
It's exciting.
It's very exciting. And then I have a 40 gallon. All of them have toppers. I have one of my 55 gallons is just for my jumbos, my 2 jumbos. So they have all the room they need.
The pasta twins?
Yes, the pasta twins. Yes. So that's that.
Okay. Right now I don't even know. I have 2 set up. I have no rescues because right now I'm fostering for a lovely family. Hi, Gannons. I don't know if you'll ever get to see this. A lovely family that's going to be overseas for like a year. So I cut way back on the rescues, and I'm focusing mostly on my own and my fosters, which are kind of my babies while they're with me.
Right.
Right. So you've got all your tanks set up, you're all ready to go. Meeting up with your person, and this is something I stress very highly. Not everyone has good intentions. I always meet at a neutral space that usually has to do with food. It's either going to be like a Wawa or a
Jersey Mike's.
Jersey. Oh, yeah. Jersey Mike's. We love Jersey Mike subs, but we're not close to one. So anytime I can possibly rescue a crab that's anywhere near Jersey Mike's, that's where we go. I'm going to show you what I use to transport, regardless of what your crab is presented to you in. Thank you very much. Don't say anything about it. Just take it. Not yet. This is what I travel with. It's just an insulated bag. Got a bottle of water that I will heat up in the microwave for about 30 seconds. Put it in the container, and then it keeps the container all nice and warm inside. This shark carrier, isn't he cute?
It is cute.
That's the thing that made me want to buy hermit crabs, because I love Jaws, love sharks, as long as I'm not near them. But I'm like, oh, it's so cute, I have to have it. And little did we all know, right? We've all been there. Nice soft moss inside, so they're not bouncing around. They're like little bowling balls when you're moving them around in the car. Moistened with primed water, so they have some moisture in there. And then the hot water will keep everything nice and moist. You can use something like this, or run to the Dollar Tree for just a little styrofoam container. Right now I have my favorite coffee creamer in there, but that's for another day. Please, please, please meet someplace neutral. Again, regardless of what they hand. I've been handed crabs in the most elaborate, beautifully kept, careful containers to the little wire mesh cages that we've all seen that are terrible. The time they're giving away their crabs is not the time to remind them that's not how to take care of them. So please don't mention anything like that. Ask for their care, what kind of care they've been given. I mean, you're going to watch them anyway, but it's not, don't be afraid to say, what kind of foods have you fed them? What kind of environment are they in? They could have been, again, sitting in one of those wire cages for a long time. Just take the information and know that you're going to do a little PPDS anyway.
Prepare for the worst.
Prepare for the worst. How many crabs have you rescued? I know.
More than half of what I have. So I stopped counting at 30. I just start adding on tanks. But I would say about 30.
Wow.
30 crabs I have rescued and I've kept for myself because it's hard to not fall in love with them.
You haven't lost any, correct?
Have.
You have. Okay.
I have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Because again, just like when you buy them from the store, you don't know really what condition they're in.
Yes.
I think I think I may have only lost two. But man, some of them, you can almost tell right away that they're in really bad shape, and you're probably going to lose them.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
depending, of course, how they are housed, um, not only the diet, which is important, um, quite a few of the crabs that I had taken in were pellet fed, and they were housed in a 20-gallon, 17 of them all in a 20-gallon.
Gosh.
So I did, and that was a Pennsylvania rescue. It was an emergency situation, so she really didn't have any choice. But a few of them did lose limbs, and before that, they were in a proper setup. So the stress from the transport from one proper setup to an improper setup, the stress was too much. They were all climbing on each other. So when I did come home, a few of them were already gone. I did what I could.
Yeah.
Did do quite a bit of PPDS. I modified. When we say modified, is you want to make sure that you're loading them with all those nutritions so that when they get ready to go down to mold, they have a better chance of making it. And not depriving them of heat or humidity. But because they came from a good setup before the stress, so I didn't want to take that away from them. So let's see.
You're echoey.
Oh, I'm echoing. I'm sorry.
I think we might be hearing ourselves back behind us.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes, it is sad. It is sad. We can only do what we can. Rita always tells me we can't rescue them all. She tells me that quite often.
But I never say no either.
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate that I have an outlet to just pack them all up and send them all off to, and I can start all over again then. The one thing we don't talk about very much is the shells in a PPDS situation. Like I said, everyone thinks they're taking pretty good care. I did exactly what they told me at the store. Or I did exactly what the beach guy told me. They don't tell you nothing. Most of the crabs are in desperate need of new shells. So overload them, rinse them up real good with nice salty water. I do extra salt in mine. So they, are attracted to them. And just add as many shells as you possibly can right away. And they will hunt around. It's actually quite fun to watch when there's so many of them looking for a new shell.
Yes.
Get those shells in there. It's something you don't really think of. And I didn't think of it. I automatically did it. And then someone had asked us in Lycos, should I put some shells in there? I'm like, absolutely. Put as many as you have or more than you think you need. Get them in there and give these guys, a lot of them, even the shell they're in, it probably wasn't their best option. And they probably can't wait to get out of it. Just because they were in it doesn't mean that they liked it. It was probably their only option. But good food, shells. I always start them off with scrambled eggs.
Yes.
So, and with crushed up ice, the eggshells in there with the eggs, lots of eggs. Let's see, what else am I thinking?
Oh, I see why
I
the
see
echo.
now. You
Because
hear the
they're
echo,
actually
right.
watching in the other TV.
We're hearing ourselves back.
Sorry about that. But out of 17 of them, 10 did survive.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that was a pretty good outcome. I
Yeah.
didn't want to deprive them, like Rita says. You want to load them up with lots of shells. You want to make sure that you're not giving them what we usually recommend at least 5 shells per crab. You want to give them everything you can possibly give them,
Everything
especially
you
if
can.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
The minute that I put them in my 75 gallon, the 75 gallon was actually PPTS for them. Um, I just the ones that did survive, the ones that weren't doing so well, I did put them in a 40-gallon hospital tank, what I like to call, because they were not doing so well. So the other ones did go crazy for all the shells. I had mentioned this to Kelly. They were just, they were like, it was like a party. Want to do several food dishes. You don't want to make them feel they have to fight for resources. So give them lots of things, and no shell shops. You want to make sure you have everything on the substrate so they can see it. And I like to give them, like you said, the eggs. I would put eggs, load them up with lots of protein and calcium. Um, and I add a little treat. I give them some popcorn, just to make them happy. They've been through so much. You want to just make them happy.
I like the rainbow popcorn that I get from Trisha.
Yes. Great
It's
stuff.
so special.
Yes.
And I always put it right at the front so I could watch them come like
Yes.
crazy, try and eat the popcorn right at the front.
So they're asking, how long should you do your modified PPDS? Well, modified or regular PPDS, we usually say PPDS for 30 days, depending on the crab and how they're doing. Some need more than 30 days, so you really have to observe it, see how well they're doing. As long as they're eating and active, then you can move on to a full setup. When we say modified, if they're coming from a proper enclosure, meaning they have the 5-to-1 ratio substrate, they're being fed proper food, then I would say observe them. What would you say?
It usually doesn't take more than a week to know that they've been taken care of properly. You want them to be active, curious. They may get quiet just because how they are about change. But you can, if you watch your own crabs, you'll be able to tell from a rescue what looks like it's normal if they've been fed well, like Jessica said.
Yes.
Fed well, lots of shells. Just a happy crabby.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you recommend, if you're housing them for a certain amount of how much time should you house them, and if you should ship them to other homes?
Shipping is tricky because you only want to do it when the weather is nice, not just where you are, but where the crabs are going to. I have a huge styrofoam box that was basically food was shipped in it. And I have tiny Tupperwares that if I'm shipping more than one, they'll go in the Tupperware, just like this one was set up with the moss in the bottom. You just want them to have enough room that they can move around, but they don't rattle around.
So Katie is a little far from where she wants to pick up her crabs.
Mm-hmm.
But she does want them. And she's hesitant to get them shipped.
Yeah. First of all, you have to do it overnight. It's expensive. So, if you're willing to pay for that shipping, well, the other person may not want to pay for all that shipping.
Right.
But it has to be done overnight, and you have to watch the weather cycle for the overnight on that end and on your end. I usually ship mine to Auntie Jean, we call her, Jeannie Singh has. So it's not too awfully far, and they do get there overnight, even though the post office tells me, oh, we can't get it there overnight, so we'll do it 2 days, which is fine because they usually get it there overnight anyway. When you put live animal on something, they don't want to be responsible for too much time, so they usually get it there pretty quickly. And you want to make sure there's a phone number on the receiving and the shipping end. Just make sure everybody's aware of what's going on, because you don't want a crisis.
Yeah.
you don't want a crisis. And, if that crab is already sick, it's going to be even more stressful on them. I don't know if anybody's ever ordered crab. I bought a crab from overseas. Those poor things are so sick and dehydrated. If the crab's already sick that is being sent to you, it may not be the best situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So Amanda says that Gus is on day 27 of PPDS and not eating or drinking.
This is what was that a store-bought crab, or did you rescue this one?
If I remember correctly, I think Amanda did rescue him.
Okay.
Yes, a rescue. He was in really bad conditions.
Yeah.
So we have been working with Amanda for some time now, and with Gus, and I asked her to remove any hides. He was in 100% cocoa fiber, no heat, no humidity. I did suggest giving him some energy mix, but it's all a waiting game. We really, as long as you're offering everything he needs, I suggest you just put everything next to him, and just make him comfortable, and let's just hope for the best. Some, like I mentioned before, a lot of crabs, especially if they're coming from bad conditions, some take longer than 30 days. So this is just a ballpark, what we usually see in certain situations.
Yeah. And there are times too when I keep them from a lot of distractions. Like all my other crabs see stuff going on, they watch TV and, watch us do whatever we're doing. But just to give them a little privacy, even if it's just most of the day, so they're not frightened, taken by surprise. I think that helps too.
Yeah.
The safer they feel, the less they can, be on alert and
Right.
can just relax and work on getting healed.
Right. I would also like to suggest offering some smelly fish, like sardines. You can get that at your supermarket. Make sure that it's not in oil, it's in water, no salt added. I have posted a picture of the one that I got, but I'm sure you can find it. Chop it up very finely and maybe add it to a boiled egg or scrambled egg with the eggshells, and just put it next to him. Just a small portion, whatever you don't use, you can always freeze. But the smell might wake him up, and you can maybe mix it in with a little bit of honey. Just make sure that it's all mixed in and there's no liquidy honey in there, just to give him a little boost.
Yeah.
Thank you, Katie. Always here to help. She's done tuna, sardines, shellfish.
All the good smelly stuff.
All the good stuff. You're doing great, Amanda, and I love how you're always trying something to make them happy.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that he comes around. Bonnie says, does anyone know if the crabs can smell predators nearby? Well, I mean, they sense it, of course.
I think they're more visually aware when they see shadows or such overhead.
Right.
When a bird would come down, swoop down, and steal them off the shore. I think quick movements and shadowy kind of movements.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing you would like to try, Amanda, is maybe putting some flowers. I think he's in a tote, if I'm not mistaken. So if the tote it's not clear, it's fine. But if he's in a tank with a clear glass, you can add some flowers on the edge of the front of the tank, just to give him a little sense of security, so he doesn't see a lot that's going on outside. And whenever approaching, slow movements, so that he doesn't get startled.
Have you crawled on your floor? I've crawled on my floor.
Yes, I tiptoe very slowly for a while until they get comfortable.
I'm glad you're here to read the questions. I'm my old eyes.
Yeah. I got my glasses. So Bonnie has her crabs in her office. That's
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
fun.
Very nice.
Yeah, you know, I started out when we moved to our new house. I started out with a small desk and a kind of smallish tank, medium tank, enough for my guys. And they were right there with me, and I could see everything they were doing. And then you get a lot, and you have to, the whole table then is for crabs. And then I literally have a wall of crabby stuff now.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
What are we? We talked a long time.
You guys are great. You're very welcome, Amanda.
Yeah, I hope we can see all of you at a crab con someday.
Yes.
We've had a wild time. We've had a really good time. It's fun to be with your people. And people don't look at you funny when you say crab things. I think they're going to cut us off here in a second. Thank
Okay.
you, my girly girl.
You're very welcome.
Love
It's
you
always
so
a
much.
pleasure. I love you too. Thank you, guys. If you have any other further questions, you know where to find us.
Yeah, you do.
We're always at your service. Thank you.
Thank you.